you might want to see which one has one right angle and one set of parallel lines. Okay? At least. So can it have more? This says that has at least one right angle. Could it have more than one right angle?
Yes.
Yes. It just has to have one, but it could be more than one because remember, at least means that's the smallest number you can have, but you can always have more. Raise your hand if you have any questions about what you're supposed to do.
These are buildings.
Those are they buildings? Those were streets.
No, right here.
Huh?
The spaces in between, yes.
No, those are not buildings. Good question, though. He's asking, okay, these are already, he's saying, okay, he understands that this is a shape in there. Is that a building? No. That's just blank land. These are roads that's running through it. Now, you're putting buildings on it. Okay? You're putting buildings on the land.
Oh.
Okay?
And you put it on.
Good question, though. Huh? You can put it anywhere you want to as long as it follows these directions. And you've got to go all the way to the bottom. Okay? I'm going to go back to the page that has the shapes here. Even though you have the notes in your red folder, or should, if you need them, where it says one pair, two pairs, right angles, not right angles. So you can also use this, okay? So go ahead and get started, and I'll bring around the crayons for you. Just share, please. Yep.
You need to have at least one pair of parallels. One and two.
Are those parallel? What are they?
It has a right angle, but not parallel.
Y'all share. Y'all have to share, okay? I don't mind if you talk to a neighbor.
It's a little piece
Okay, are you following your directions?
Okay.
You have to have 8 buildings that are in the shape of any polygon, color-coded by the following terms.
Next.
Different shaped red buildings that have at least one right angle, one set of parallel lines. So, one right angle. Look up here. Does this have one right angle? Does this shape have a right angle? Yes. Does it have a set of parallel lines? Really? I don't know. You tell me. What does parallel mean? They never touch. So will these touch if they keep going? Will these touch if they keep going? So are any of those parallel? No. So you can't use that shape. Let's move on to, come up here. Yeah, come up. Anywhere in this box. Okay, so one right angle. So tell me another one that has a right angle. You can listen to, I'm right here. You can listen to. Okay, that has a right angle, correct? So that gets what we need. Does it have parallel sides? Which ones are parallel? So these are running parallel. And which one side? And those are in parallel. So it has parallel sides, at least one set of parallel sides, correct? So you can draw those two buildings a rectangle. Or what else do you think? We can use that one. Which other one do you think we can use? 2 red buildings. And if you need help with the next ones, come back. Yes, ma'am. You draw the shape. That's right. She drew a rectangle, correct? So it has one right angle and one set, at least one set of parallel lines. So that's perfect. I love it. Uriel, I'm going to bring around what he just did. He made sure that I knew that his were parallel, at least a set that were parallel, and right angles. He put the boxes in the corners, and he drew these lines. Very good. How could you, what are you guys drawing?
A building.
A building? What would kind of go in the corner? A square. But what could you make that? Since you're drawing an actual...
A window.
A window! You could put it, good job! You could put it in the corner. So that I know it's a perfect right angle. Do I have 2 red buildings yet? Gotta have 2. Ariana, do you have your notes page like this? Don't. Do you have it? Do you have it? The notes page? Can I have it, please? Well, these are the 8 buildings. You've got to follow these.
So what did you just draw?
Follow these requirements to make the 8 buildings.
I drew a rectangle, but instead of facing this way, I drew like a square, but no ways.
Okay, so how do I know that's a rectangle? What makes a rectangle a rectangle?
Okay, it says
It has 4 right angles.
so you can draw this shape. Miss Baker.
4 sets.
4 sets or
2.
2 sets? Good job.
Because you're drawing 8 different buildings, but all of these, 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this, and 2 of this. Get it now? It is right. Very good. She'll bring the paper back, I promise. Huh? That's a bush. I like it. Okay, so it has parallel lines and it has a right angle, so I'll take that. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Isn't it this one?
There's tissues back here, right?
I don't have a red. You want me to get
In that box. Grab your notes page. Either one of you have a page I gave you.
So what are your green shapes?
They are 1 of 2 single and they're not triangle. It has at least 1 of 2 single.
There it is.
It's a what?
It's a normal quadrilateral.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it's not anything else. It's just
Y'all need help with the next one? Okay, it says 2 different shaped green buildings that have at least 1 obtuse angle. Okay, what is an obtuse angle? It's big, right? So is that obtuse? How do we check to see if it's bigger than a right angle? Okay, there's my paper. Does it go bigger than paper? So what kind of angle is it?
obtuse.
It's obtuse, correct? So does that have at least 1 obtuse angle? So can we color those green? So go ahead and make 2 buildings green. Okay, on this, let's look at it. It says 2 different shaped red buildings that have at least 1 right angle and 1 set of parallel lines. Okay, which one of these has 1 right angle? Find the right angles. There. There. You've got the boxes, correct? Okay. So these have one right angle and in one set of parallel lines. Do those have any parallel lines? One set of parallel lines? What does parallel mean? They never touch. So do any of these lines never touch? Really? This one will never touch what? There we go. These will never touch. So there's a set of parallel lines. There's also a set here. Same here and same here. So you can draw the red buildings, rectangles, or squares. Okay? So I'm going to put a red dot beside them. So y'all find those and then we'll move to green. Understand? You're going to draw buildings. With red. Okay, red. You're going to draw buildings that are red, either a rectangle or a square.
Can we draw both?
Rectangle or a square. You can draw one of each. Yes, you can.
No. Next one. Right triangle.
Yeah, what are you making?
I'm trying to make an obtuse angle.
Okay. And what do you know about an obtuse angle? What makes an obtuse angle obtuse?
It's
Oh, you're taking off your
bigger.
paper?
Our base
Okay.
came with two reds. It has a spot left because it's not perfectly in the shape of a right angle.
So it's bigger than a right angle? Do you know how many degrees a right angle is?
No.
90. So it's bigger than 90?
Go to that next. So
Oh, really? They haven't got
next
degrees
week,
yet.
Yeah, next week is our degrees.
I'm trying to advance it.
And sometimes when I'm teaching, I say that though, accidentally. It's bigger than 90. No, it's bigger than a right angle.
So what's next?
Two different shaped blue buildings with no parallel or perpendicular sides.
If there's no parallel or no perpendicular, what can you make from it? Huh? What kind of shapes do you know that are not perpendicular sides and not parallel?
Preston, Jason, it's work. So,
What could you look at? What has Miss McFalls given you that you could look at to help guide you?
we also know that these have all right angles, right? This has all right angles. So which shape here has
If you want to show the teacher that it's a
check
right,
it.
that has
Take your
a
paper
right angle,
and say, okay, is that bigger than a right angle? Is that right here bigger than this right angle? Yes, so you can draw two like that.
yeah, we got drawn.
Or that. Those all have opposite angles.
This is two.
Yes, sir. Here you go. Sit, and I'll be there in just a second. No parallel and no or perpendicular sides. So no parallel, no perpendicular. Well, here's parallel. Oh, this shape right here?
This is a red shape blue building.
I was looking at the building behind it, and I was like, wait a second. Yes, sir.
What do you do when you're drawing the building?
Keep going down to the park. Oh, I like it. Yes, ma'am. You know Carmelo, he just talked himself through that. Let him talk you through it. The blue buildings, Carmelo. Hey, why don't we have, we gotta go to the green.
Not have
What does it
no
say?
parallel lines perpendicular. So
At least one obtuse angle. What does obtuse mean?
you can use a triangle as
Bigger
because it don't got
than
no
a,
parallel lines or
than
no
a,
perpendicular.
it is bigger than a cube, but we say bigger than a what?
Right.
So which one of these has an angle in it that's bigger than a right?
They're separate. Where's this right angle?
Okay, check it. Look at that corner.
Parallel
Is that bigger than a right angle? A right angle right there, is that bigger than that? Yes. So you can draw these are two green buildings. That's you can have this one, or this one has it. You can do your green buildings any of that.
No, you can put it in
Where you at?
I need a darker
What is it on the He was telling you just a second ago. It's bigger than a right angle, correct. So how do we check to see, Alex, if something is bigger than a right angle? Come here. Okay, so which one do you think has an angle that's bigger than a right angle? Okay, which angle do you want to check? Come and point to. Which one do you think that's bigger than a right angle?
That's the blue one.
Okay, check it. Okay, look at that. That comes down. And let's do it. Straight side. Okay, this comes up. A right angle is over there. This goes in. So is that bigger? Smaller. It goes on the paper. Remember it would have to come off the paper to be bigger. This space is smaller than what a right angle space would be. You get what I'm saying? Look. With a right angle. Oh, Zuleika. Is she checking out? You can go. Okay, this is a right angle, correct? Okay, you just told me to be obtuse, it has to be what? Bigger or smaller? Okay, so we're looking at the space between here. So you're telling me that if that one comes like this, is this space smaller than that space? I mean, bigger than that space? No, it's smaller, correct? So what does the obtuse angle have to do? It's gotta come over here. So now look at this one and tell me which angle would be obtuse. Very good. And to check it, put your paper and look, it doesn't come right there, does it?
Right.
It's bigger than it. That space is bigger.
It's a obtuse.
Okay?
At least it's not touching the paper.
Yes, sir.
Right angle. Lower for parallel and perpendicular.
Two different shaped yellow buildings that are right angles. Or are you looking at blue buildings?
But if it
Two different shaped blue buildings with no parallel or perpendicular sides. That one,
you make
no parallel, no perpendicular. Okay?
put it like on the
No parallel, which means they'll
so like
never touch, and no perpendicular, which means they won't make right angles.
you have this.
Got any of these shapes? Come here.
This here.
Which one of these do you think has no parallel, no perpendicular? Look at these shapes. No parallel, no perpendicular sides. Which means the sides will always touch each other. And they don't make right angles. Woohoo! So what are you making? There you go.
It's not a trapezoid because it's got one pair of parallel sides.
Do you see that? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, what can I do?
I think upside down building? Yes, and you can make up your own directions if you want to.
This one? Yeah.
And then if you want to make up your own directions, maybe somebody will get to draw that map that you made. Okay, so if you draw our green ones.
So what are you about to do?
Well, then do you have
Make your own map. That's awesome.
no?
You already finished the other one?
And what they're doing back there is they're just
That
tracing
is
it.
great.
So maybe Aiden will let you.
So are you going to give directions step by step like it said, or you're going to draw a map and have them label it?
Okay, Aiden, come back here with
You're going to have them label it? Cool.
Israel and Aiden. Will y'all work together coming up with those directions and a map together?
So you finished yours too?
Yeah.
Good job.
Wasn't that hard?
Smart guy, huh? You know how to do it all, right? It's great. You made a hospital. What kind of shape is your hospital? Ah, a square? What's the difference between a square and a rectangle? One's little, one's big, one's longer.
A square has 4 equal sides.
Ah. So a square has 4 equal sides, and then a rectangle has, or opposite sides are equal, right? Good job.
Okay, so we are on blue, correct? No parallel, no perpendicular sides. Okay. Now this says parallelogram, and then everything below it is a parallelogram, right? So they all have parallel sides. So can we use any of these? No, we can't. Okay. So let's look here. Does this have parallel sides? It only has one pair, but it still has parallel sides, right? What about here? Does it have parallel sides? Okay, but does it have perpendicular sides? Do you see a right angle somewhere in there? Right where? Okay, you see a right angle right there. So can it be any of these shapes? No, because they all either have parallel sides or perpendicular sides. So what other shapes have we worked with that you might could draw? What other shapes have we worked with? Maybe look up here. Okay, is there any parallel sides? Is there any right angles in this triangle? No, so can they be blue? Okay.
Can a triangle have a right angle? So you got to make sure you draw it without one, right?
You can do it like
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere, you can put it anywhere. Not make up a shape. You can make up a shape as long as it's closed, if you want to, or you can use a shape. Is it going to be one of these shapes? Exactly. So, what do you need to do? Okay, so what can you make that's not going to have parallel or perpendicular sides? Okie doke. Blue.
Can we use the same? What's the next one? You gotta check out.
Why are those yellow?
We're on the yellow.
Yes. And then you move to yellow. Then that's right angle.
Right.
Okay, what do you mean?
no, these are supposed to be blue.
He accidentally colored those trapezoids blue. Read what blue says to do, sweetie. Y'all listen too. Let's think about blue. That's correct. These are not, because what does blue say? Are you listening? No, because it says for blue it can have no parallel sides, no perpendicular sides. You drew a trapezoid. Is everybody looking? Does this trapezoid have parallel sides? Yes. What sides are parallel? The top and bottom. So can you use that shape? You can't have parallel lines and you cannot have perpendicular lines. So look at the notes up there on the board with quadrilaterals. Does any of those shapes not have parallel lines? The top one, the quadrilateral, didn't have parallel lines. But the rest of them do. But does that top shape have perpendicular lines?